from 8.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Talking politics with Russell Norman.
Yeah, a little bit earlier on this morning, the co-leader of the Green Party, Russell Norman, joins us. Good morning, Russell.
Morning, Wammo.
So I understand Parliament is under urgency at the moment, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So sitting starts at 9 and select committee start at 8.
Okay, so what select committee are you sitting in at the moment?
I'm on Finance and Expenditure Committee.
Sounds riveting.
Well, it does. We are supposed to be overseeing the spending of all of your money, so...
Right, very important, because there's not a lot of that to go around at the moment.
No, that's right.
Last night was the Sustainable Business Awards, a big show in Auckland City, Russell.
Yeah, Sustainable Business Network. They have they kind of have these awards, sustainability awards each year, and so they had the national awards last night up in Auckland.
And I understand Jeanette Fitzsimmons was recognised.
Yeah, Jeanette got an Outstanding Achievement Award, I guess from a lifetime of commitment to sustainability and making progress on sustainability, so that was really cool, actually.
Is she involved in any businesses at the moment as well?
No, not aside from her farm. So her and Harry have got their farm on Coromandel, but she's kind of she's looking at what she wants to do next, basically, at the moment.
Yeah, the world's the oyster, I suppose.
Yeah.
And who took out the Supreme Award?
It was Resene Paints.
Oh.
Yeah, they took out the award because they've done all that work around the take back of paints, and then they've also done quite a lot of work around reducing waste and trying to reduce some of the kind of impacts of the paint production business, which of course is a pretty industrial process.
Which I must say I've actually taken them up on that offer. Previously I've dragged in some old paints I found under the house one time, and they took them and they did whatever they do with them. They took it away anyway. I don't know what they did with it afterwards, to be fair.
Oh, well, they can recover the pigment. So, paints obviously have to, there's all the colours in them, and they've figured out a process for recovering it.
Yeah. Because otherwise, people are tempted to chuck it down the drain or something, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I just put it in the waste stream, ends up in the landfill. I think that's where a lot of it ends up. Tins of paint end up in the landfill, and over time end up contaminating waterways, groundwater in particular.
I tell you what makes me really mad when I see people chucking stuff down drains. They think it's part of the sewer network, when in fact that's heading out to sea. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. I mean, the drains just obviously all drain out either to the local creek, or if you're near a harbour, into a harbour. The stormwater system's there to deal with what should be runoff water, so it doesn't get treated generally.
Let's get into another issue, though. You've been debating with Mr. Bill English in Parliament at the moment, and having a pretty good debate, from what I understand from some of your tweets that have been coming through. What have you been talking about?
We've been debating with Bill about sustainable economics. The Green Party ran a conference in Parliament on Friday, all about sustainable economics. We had David Suzuki over, who's quite a famous Canadian ecologist. And then we had a whole range of speakers from the kind of economics profession and from the business sector, all talking about how we make the transition from our economy as it is now towards a sustainable economy. Anyway, so I've been engaging with Bill English in the House, asking him questions about how he thinks the transition could happen, or what are his thoughts about it. So, obviously we disagree with National about a lot of things, but the good thing is that it's been quite a respectful kind of dialogue, which is very unusual for question time.
Yeah, and there's been some mutual respect there as well?
Yeah, I mean, Bill acknowledged that, it's because of the Greens that we're starting to get a price on carbon, even though it's very weak, and National weakened it through the emissions trading scheme. We've got a little bit of a very weak price signal around waste because of the waste levy at landfills. And then the next thing we're looking at is trying to get some kind of price on the commercial use of water, fresh water, particularly irrigation, really, so that we start to internalise some of the prices for use of these finite resources. Because by getting a price on them, you actually make the market take them into account. Whereas if they're all free to the users, even if they're not free to the planet, then people just basically waste them and use as much as they want.
Okay. And finally, on to what I suppose is really a non-issue, because it doesn't really affect everyone, it just affects MPs. But this whole perk business, John Key getting rid of perks for current sitting MPs unless you've been in Parliament pre-99. What do you make? Get rid of perks altogether, or were the perks a good idea in the first place to help citizens who have obviously reached a certain point in their involvement in the system, so that they can further the cause of New Zealand into the future? Did that question make sense at all? Well, maybe it didn't. I think I talked around it. But what I'm saying is that the system was there for a purpose in the first place. Why not keep it?
Well, the system as it is now is that for any MP that was elected in '96, basically once they've done, I think, 3 terms or something or other, they get subsidised international travel for the rest of their lives. It's either between 75 or 90% of the cost of all their international travel subsidised for the rest of their living days on planet Earth, which just seems to me a gross abuse of power and privilege. I don't see why taxpayers should subsidise ex-MPs' international travel for the rest of their lives.
Is that because there are a bunch of MPs that are bad buggers? I mean, let's say you were a good guy, and after you were an MP, there was so much more that you could do with all the knowledge that you had gained, having been an MP, and all the contacts you'd made around the world. And there's so much more that you could further the cause of a sustainable New Zealand, all that kind of stuff. And this travel perk helped out in order to make all that happen.
Well, why on earth should you be required to subsidise me?
Because you might
do lots of things too, Wammo. You might have learned all this information that might be really good for you to travel the world. Should I have to subsidise you? I mean, why on earth should taxpayers subsidise ex-MPs' international travel? Why? I mean, let's say I'm a surgeon who, might be the benefit of the world for me to travel to third world countries or whatever to do things. Why should there be an automatic kind of subsidy from the taxpayer to me? I mean, there's all sorts of occupations where it would be great if people, did some international travel or whatever, but there's no reason why there should be an automatic subsidy from the taxpayer. The reason it was put in place was that they did, back in the day where they wanted a pay rise, they're trying to find a way to give themselves one without upsetting the taxpayers, so they gave themselves this international travel perk. It's just ridiculous. It's a job. Being an MP is a job. We should get a salary. We should get our work expenses covered. I'd just come down on the red eye from Auckland this morning on the plane. Taxpayer paid for that. I think that's, right and proper. It's a work expense. But, you shouldn't be subsidised for your holidays or your personal trips or all that kind of stuff. I mean, if I want to go on a holiday, I should put my hand in my own pocket.
Well, put in those terms, scrap it.
Scrap it, absolutely. I'm with you, scrap it.
Thanks very much, Russell. Cheers.
Okay, thanks very much.
That is Russel Norman, co-leader of the Greens.